Hey, real estate consumers, are you sick of finding out about costs after the fact, both on the buy and the sell side when you're going through a real estate transaction? If you are, or if you're thinking about going through a transaction soon, check out episode 32 of Tom's Take right now, where I'm going to review the 5 most commonly overlooked or surprise costs that come up during a transaction. Check it out. All right, I'm Tom Toole. Welcome to episode number 32 of Tom's Take. Very excited to have you here. And we're going to go over some of the costs that come up in real estate transactions that buyers and sellers don't know about. They're not disclosed by their agents, or it's kind of a surprise after the fact. And what we've seen happen in the day-to-day transactions here in our market, as well as other markets across the country. So, to be very clear, the law in Pennsylvania is that when you enter into a real estate contract, a real estate transaction, your agent should be giving you a full breakdown of the costs. So exactly what it's going to cost you to get into the property. Now, some of these don't appear on the settlement sheet, so that's why they're a little bit of a surprise. Others, people say they don't know about, and it's usually an issue, it's usually an issue of disclosure. So the first one's going to be home inspections, and the agreement of sale is very clear that home inspections are the responsibility of the buyer. Any sort of inspection or test that gets done is the buyer's responsibility to pay. So that includes home inspections, radon, wood infestation, well, septic, if they're going to do a stucco test. All that's the responsibility of the buyer. The normal inspections are typically home, wood, and radon, and those three will range anywhere from $500 to $700. Now, what a lot of people don't know, and this is what happens in many real estate transactions, we'll get an inspection reply, and the inspection reply coming from the buyer says, seller to investigate and explore, because so many home inspectors punt on issues, or they don't know the answer. That is not the seller's responsibility. It's very clear what it says in the agreement. Obviously, this can be negotiated, but a lot of agents just aren't educating their clients. Moving costs. So this is something that both buyers and sellers can run into. Movers are like agents, where there's a couple really good ones, usually the top 20% or so are really good and active, and there's a lot of bad movers that damage furniture, damage homes, don't do a great job. So what I would suggest here is get some estimates and call in advance. Once you have a settlement date, figure out when you're going to be able to close, when you're going to want to move in, and find out the hard costs from that lender so you know exactly what you're dealing with. From that mover, so you know exactly what you're dealing with. And then you got FHA loans. This really comes into play when you have an FHA loan on your current home that you were selling and you're getting the payoff. FHA, no matter when you settle in the month, whether it's the 1st, the 5th, or the 30th, no matter when you settle, they will charge a full month of mortgage interest on the property. So there's no proration there like there is with a conventional loan. Be aware of that. That can sometimes be $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 depending on the loan amount and what your interest rate is, and a lot of people are surprised when they get these payoffs. And while we're on the topic of payoffs, also be aware, your number on your mortgage statement that says principal outstanding, that's not your payoff amount. There's going to be some adjustments made there, so you want to budget a little extra cash in when you're paying off a loan. Use and occupancy inspections. So this is something that's pretty common in some areas in Pennsylvania. Other townships and boroughs, they don't really require it. So it's a municipal thing, and there are requirements that the seller is responsible for bringing the property up to code prior to settlement. These range from making sure there's no cracked sidewalk blocks out front, electrical repairs, smoke detectors, handrails. Typically, it's going to be safety items, and the requirements aren't uniform across the board. You go from one township to another, it's going to be different. What I recommend doing, and what we do for all our clients, is when we first meet, I give them the township requirements. It shows exactly what it's going to cost, what's going to be required, so we don't get this, hey, this is a total surprise, I didn't know about this, because we give it to you at our first meeting. And lastly are condo and HOAs. So with a condo or an HOA, so a homeowners association, condo association, they will at times charge a special assessment to sellers for projects in the community. They will charge a capital contribution, which is a one-time startup cost for buyers. These things should be disclosed up front. For buyers out there, you will get 5 days to review in Pennsylvania all the costs, rules and regulations, all those sort of things, so that you know exactly what you're running into. These are what we found are the most surprise costs, or the things some agents don't even know about when they're selling real estate, which leads to a whole long list of concerns. But that's why we're doing this video, to help educate you. So if you have any other questions, or you want to talk about other topics you want to see covered, whatever it is, connect with us below in the comments. Connect with us on social. We love to hear from everyone who watches, and we'll catch you next week on Tom's Take. Thanks so much.